Okay, moving back to Kona. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next speaker is Daniel Jelsma. He represents the Youth Crime Watch of Kealakekee, and he's speaking in opposition to the resolution 281.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Jelsma Jr. I am 11 years old and a 6th grade student of Kealakekee Intermediate School. I am here today to oppose resolution number 281-09. When I was 6 years old, I used to follow my family and friends on neighborhood watch walks in my community. I was also taught at that age that pakalolo was a bad drug, as well as alcohol and tobacco. I have seen people who smoke marijuana, who drink alcohol, and who are high on other drugs. The men are unshaven, the women look like red-eyed dragons. They all look like they don't take a bath and smell awful. At an early age, I was being taught about AIDS prevention. Now that I am older, 11 years older, does that mean that marijuana is okay for me? Is that everything I learned when I was 6 years old has changed now or about to change? Well, let me tell you, I don't want to look like those ugly people I described earlier. And so I think I'll choose to continue to believe that alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, and other drugs are not good for me. I'm thankful that my mom, who is a police officer, will continue to lock up druggies, and I am thankful for my family members who continue to help me stay away from those bad things. Ladies and gentlemen of this council, please make good decisions for me to live by so I can grow up to be a good leader. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Daniel. Our next testifier is Mitch Roth of the Office of Prosecuting Attorney. He'll be testifying on his own behalf, I believe.
That is correct. Thank you. Good evening. We study history so we don't make the same mistakes that we've made before. You look at China, the Opium Wars taught us drugs aren't a good thing. You look at other places that have made marijuana legal. You'll probably hear from some of the people back here about Mendocino County. 2000, they passed an ordinance kind of like the one we passed a couple of years ago. From 2000 to 2008, crime went up. Crashes on their roadways went up. The use of methamphetamine went up. The number of marijuana growers from other places coming into their community went up. Environmental disasters, including illegal diversion of streams, spills of diesel fuels, hazardous waste, fires, poisoning of wildlife, things that we see here, went up. Road rage went up. Organized crime came in. And the people of Mendocino County in 2008 repealed their law. Ricky Roy Damerville talked about Alaska recriminalizing because of the problems that they've had. Amsterdam, we'll hear great things about Amsterdam. Surely Amsterdam doesn't have any problems. Amsterdam leads the Netherlands in crime because, you know, they have kind of a free reign on marijuana and other drugs. Amsterdam has started closing down their marijuana cafes because why? Organized crime coming into their community. If you look at the bill tonight, one of the things it talks about is the harmful effects of marijuana. Oh, marijuana is not that harmful. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, in the Dawn report, which they do every couple of years, marijuana admissions to the emergency room, they talk about drugs going into the emergency rooms. I had a report from 2002. 120,000 plus people entered emergency rooms because of marijuana in 2002. That was up 139% from 1995. 2006, that number rose to over 290,563.
30 seconds.
79,000 for meth. Alcohol alone, 126,000. If you look at the use of marijuana emergency room admissions for kids 12 to 17, 44,000. If you look at the alcohol admissions for kids 12 to 17, 24,000. When you put marijuana with alcohol, the numbers go up.
Please close.
In short, we've heard testimony a couple of months ago from a parent who lost their
Mitch,
child.
I got to cut you off.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, going back to Kona. Karen?
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alexis Jane Transfiguration, and she is speaking against Resolution 281.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Hawaii Community Council, good afternoon. My name is Alexis Transfiguration, a 7th grade honor roll student of Kealakekee Intermediate School, a member of the Kealakekee Community Association, and also a member of Youth Crime Watch of Kealakekee. I'm here today speaking in opposition of Resolution 281-09. Throughout my previous years in school, I have been repeatedly taught that alcohol, tobacco, and all drugs, including marijuana, were detrimental to my health. I have participated in the DARE assemblies in my school, at which time our police officers continue to disseminate the message of drug prevention. I have studied, wrote essays, and created signages that provided information of ATOD prevention. In paragraph 4 in Resolution 281-09 states, and I quote, "Recent criminal activity involving illegal drugs nationally has reached terrifying proportions," unquote. If marijuana becomes a legalized drug, the possibility of an increase of criminal activity involving illegal drugs will be very likely. My question that I would like to ask and hope that you will be able to ponder on is, what will be the future of our generations that will become leaders of our community if marijuana is legal? I hope in my future to probably be seated where you are today as a leader in my community. If that be so, will I still be a drug-free advocate, or will I be indulging in marijuana because this resolution states that it might be a good idea to decriminalize marijuana? As a young lady, I'm very fortunate to have wonderful parents who care for me, and teachers, community leaders, and responsible adults who continue to keep me on a righteous path. Please make good choices for me, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Alexis. Moving back here to Hilo, we have Nancy Kelly. She'll be followed by Lisa Faulkner Inouye.
Just want to be really brief and just share with you that to please ask you to please consider the impact of decriminalizing marijuana on the youth, not just for our youth today, but for future generations. And, we look to our council members and elected officials to set the foundation for our community and for the future. And the challenge that you face is to have a vision and to do the right thing, not just what is popular or a fad. And and Kelly used the analogy of a family, and I like to think of you guys as maybe the parent. And it's not always that you can ask your children, oh, what do you want us to do? You need to take a hard look at what the impacts will be for the long run and make the hard decision and just go with it. So thank you for being good parents for us.
Thank you, Lisa.